Hey y'all, I'm Carrie,
I'm Momo.
and this is Monstrous, where the stories are strange, the shadows run deep, and the tea is always a little dark. Listener discretion is advised. Monstrous covers true crime, violence, and other unsettling subject matter that may be difficult for some listeners. This episode is sponsored by Invisaware, discreet safety jewelry and accessories that can instantly alert your trusted contacts and share your location with just a click. No subscriptions, no hassle, just added peace of mind. Get 10% off your order at invisaware.com/monstrous10. Welcome back to another week with us. If you're new, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Now, before we jump in, I want to acknowledge that this episode is a little later than expected. We ran into a recording issue last week that set us back, and rather than rush it, we decided just to take some extra time to get it all right, and we really appreciate your patience. So, you're going to get this episode this week, and because we left you hanging last week, you're also going to have a bonus coming, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited for this one.
Right?
I can't
Did you
wait.
like that thing I sent you on Facebook?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I sent like a laughing face or something. Now, we've got a few things to catch all up on. First, I was recently featured on the Midnight Mystery Archive for their latest Witness Wednesday episode for any of us that are not following us on Facebook. So if you have not checked out that episode, definitely go give a listen. It was wild to talk with Kevin about a case that we have both been covering the exact same time. So go give that a listen and get you a little sneak peek of what will be coming in the future. Now for some quick true crime updates. The Larry Millette trial is now underway. This is more than 5 years after his wife, Maya Millette, disappeared in January of 2021. Prosecutors allege that he killed her after she planned to leave their marriage. Her body has never been found, but the trial is ongoing. So this one, it, it's
It might
been,
take a while.
right, it's been years in the making. The family is still waiting for closure to find out where Maya is and what happened to her. But it's going to be a hard one for prosecutors because it is a no body case. So they must feel like they have some pretty good evidence to be taking him to trial.
Right?
Now, in New Jersey, Paul Canario, I think I'm saying that right, sorry if I'm not, has been sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms without parole for the Colts Neck Mansion murders. These took place in 2018 when Canario set fire to his brother's mansion, killing his brother Keith, Keith's wife Jennifer, and their 2 children.
That's kind of rude.
Investigators later determined that the fire was set intentional, obviously, and the case revealed a disturbing mix of financial motives and family betrayal. He had also set his own home on fire in an attempt to cover his tracks. Then, along with those life sentences, he also received additional time for the arson and other related charges. So he's not getting out for a while. At the sentencing, the victims' families did speak, saying that they did finally feel some kind of justice, but of course, nothing was going to bring no loved ones back. And then we have the Lindsay Clancy trial. This is scheduled to begin July 20th of 2026, so just a little over a month now. Lindsay Clancy is accused of killing her 3 children in 2023. Her defense filed a petition to split the trials because she is facing multiple charges. Um, a judge denied that motion, so the jury will decide every single charge in one proceeding. This case is one that has drawn national attention, and the community is still reeling from the loss. Now, as always, these are ongoing cases. I will do my best to keep up to date with them, and I will then try to keep you guys updated. There's a lot happening out there right now, so I'm going to do my best.
That's because this world's gone crazy.
So we have those. Those were the big updates from last week, really, that we kind of missed. Now, for this week, we have out of North Carolina, there's finally been an arrest in the Sundrop murders. This is a case that's been cold for nearly 18 years.
Good gravy.
Concord police say that 43-year-old Johnny Stephen Talbert was arrested in Washington on May 21st in connection with the 2008 double homicide at the Sundrop Bottling Company.
Dang!
hmm He's now facing 2 counts of first degree murder and robbery with a firearm, and extradition is still underway. The victim's families sent out a statement saying that they've waited nearly 2 decades for this moment and that they're finally beginning to heal. Yep, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Yeah. So, guys, if you have any case suggestions, any updates for cases, personal stories, anything like that, send them over to the email, which is in the description. And they might just be featured on a future episode. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, have your downloads turned on so you never miss an episode. You get all of these true crime updates every week. And I think that's all the updates that we have. You think of anything?
No.
Okay. Are you ready to get into it?
Yes.
Okay. So today we're exploring the Alaskan Triangle, a place filled with mystery and unanswered questions. In February of 2025, a plane carrying 10 passengers disappeared over Norton Sound in Alaska. The Coast Guard would eventually find the wreckage 34 miles southeast of Nome, and at least 3 bodies had been recovered. But sadly, the rest remain missing. Families are still searching for answers, and the search for their bodies still continues. This is just the latest chapter in the Alaskan Triangle's ongoing mystery. So, Alaska is a huge remote wilderness known for its harsh environment, its size, extreme weather, and sudden deadly changes that make it a place where help can be days away. But there's something strange about Alaska that doesn't quite make sense. Between Anchorage, Juneau, and Yukavik, I think that's how you say it.
Impressive.
I had to think about it. There's an unofficial area. It's a massive stretch of land where people seem to vanish at an alarming rate. This area is, of course, known as the Alaskan Triangle. Now, this term didn't begin until the 1990s, but the disappearances here go back decades. Since the 1970s, over 20,000 people have gone missing here. In many of these cases, there's no trace of the missing individuals. Planes disappear without distress calls. Hikers vanish on marked trails. Boats never return. Sometimes belongings are left behind, neatly arranged, as if something had interrupted a single moment. And sometimes there's nothing. Now, before anyone says it, yes, Alaska is dangerous. It's got the crazy weather, the wildlife, and the terrain, which are all serious threats. But danger usually leaves behind evidence. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense at all. Now, these aren't just stories, these are real people and families that are waiting for answers. Some have been waiting for decades. Now, the Alaskan Triangle may not be on any official map, but it's well known to pilots, search and rescue teams, and even the locals. It's shaped by, like I said, Anchorage, Juneau, and Yukavik. It forms a region of about 400,000 square miles. This is larger than Germany and Japan combined.
It's big.
Yeah. Inside that space are mountains, glaciers, forests, and vast areas where it's frighteningly easy to disappear. So, Alaska covers about 1/5 of the United States, and only around 730,000 people live here. There are over 100 different communities that you can't reach by road. You can only get to them if you fly. Could you imagine being that far out that you had to take a plane?
Mhm.
I'm good. No, thank you. Like, I want to be away from people, but I don't want to be that far away from people.
I wouldn't mind it.
But the biggest downside is when something goes wrong, help isn't coming quickly. Here, the weather also shifts fast, visibility drops, and temperatures turn deadly in a split second. So, yes, There are logical explanations to what's going on here, but even with those, the numbers still stand out. Alaska has the highest missing persons rate in the entire US. Alaska alone, it is 10 times the national average. Search teams recover only about 30% of the missing people. So this means roughly 70% of missing people are never found. And that's only the ones that are reported.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't even reported.
hmm And this is where the mystery deepens. There are over 1,400 active missing person cases in Alaska as of 2025, with more than 1,300 of those being unsolved cases that date back decades.
Oh, yeah.
About 60% of these involve men, 40% are women, with an average age of 34. Roughly 35% of missing individuals are Alaska Native or Indigenous, and they are significantly less likely to be found compared to non Indigenous cases, which is wild. Which that's for many reasons. It's a
Oh, yeah.
whole
We just did an episode not too long ago about an
mm,
indigenous
yep.
person.
So this shows a disturbing pattern. Missing persons investigation cases have a 12% resolution rate for Indigenous people, while non Indigenous cases have a 28% resolution rate. This means Indigenous people are less than half as likely to be found than those that are non Indigenous. This disparity isn't just about geography, though, it's about systematic issues. Indigenous communities often have fewer resources, less political influence, and less media attention when someone goes missing. National news outlets are less likely to cover a missing Indigenous person. Law enforcement agencies may prioritize cases differently, and many Indigenous families live in remote areas where search and rescue is already difficult. It's a troubling pattern that's only starting to get the attention that it deserves now. Now, tourists make up about 15% of these disappearances, and they're often unprepared for the terrain. They underestimate the wilderness, they lack proper gear, and are unfamiliar with the terrain in general. The one tour guide told reporters, quote, tourists come here thinking they're prepared. They're not. They walk into the woods with sneakers and a water bottle. They don't understand how fast conditions can change. Aviation plays a major role in Alaska's story. Between 1950 and 2025, over 150 small aircrafts have disappeared. That's a lot of planes to go missing.
Yeah, it is.
And most of these are bush planes.
They're just little planes.
Right. These are used to reach those remote areas that you can't reach by car. These planes are essential for rural
I'm
Alaska.
sorry, if I can't drive, I ain't going. Plain and simple.
No, I'm good. So these are the planes that you see landing on rivers, lakes, the gravel bars, the short strips that larger aircrafts can't use. For many communities, these planes are the only way that they can get supplies, medical care, or reach other family members. And some pilots have reported strange issues occurring. Now, remember, these are pilots who fly this area all the time. They know what's normal and they know what's not. They've reported GPS failures, spinning compasses, radio interference, even emergency beacons malfunctioning. One bush pilot told investigators, quote, I've been flying Alaska for 25 years. My GPS went blank 3 times. My compass spun twice. My radio picked up something that wasn't there. I'm not alone. Every pilot I know has had something like this happen. Yeah. An aviation safety expert put it this way, quote, Alaska accounts for 60% of all fatal aviation accidents in the US, but only 3% of total flight hours. The math doesn't add up unless something else is going on.
That's just crazy.
Right. Now, in early 2026, another small bush pilot vanished over rural Alaska. Search teams found some debris, but as of now, not everyone has been recovered. The families are still waiting for answers. And this is where the theories begin. Some believe the region experiences unusual magnetic anomalies that interfere with the navigation. The Earth's magnetic field isn't uniform, and Alaska sits near the magnetic North Pole. This could cause compasses to spin or for GPS to fail. Scientists have documented magnetic irregularities in the area, but they don't fully explain all of the disappearances. Others point to Alaska Native folklore, describing forces or even spirits connected to the land. Stories that deserve respect, not sensationalism. Some communities speak of beings that protect the wilderness or punish those who disrespect it. These stories are part of the cultural fabric here, and they add just another layer to the mystery. And then there's the even more fringe ideas cryptids like Bigfoot, portals to other dimensions, even extraterrestrial involvement. There's no solid evidence for any of them, of course, but they fuel the mystery. Could you imagine, like, having a conversation with somebody about Alaska, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's the Bigfoot out there just eating people."
Eh, that's funny.
Ah, I don't
I
mean
mean,
to.
it's serious, but it's funny.
Right. Mm, okay. Sorry. Now, there's also a book series called Missing 411. This is written by author David Paulides. This series documents disappearances within national parks, including many in Alaska. The books claim that there's a pattern that can't be explained by normal causes. Some people find the books eye opening, while others say that they're sensationalized. But regardless of what you believe, they've brought more attention to these cases. But what makes the Alaskan Triangle different from other places with high disappearance rates is the combination of several factors. It's not just the weather, it's not just the terrain, and it's not just the lack of infrastructure. It's the sheer scale of the wilderness, the extreme isolation, and the fact that some areas are so remote that search teams can't even reach them for days. And then when you add in the unexplained factors, so the pilot reports, the equipment failures, the belongings that are just left sitting there, it becomes something that doesn't fit any normal pattern. So let's break this down by decade because the pattern is striking when you see it laid out in front of you. In the 1970s, about 1,200 people went missing. Back then, search and rescue was less organized and technology was limited. Then, in the 1980s, that number jumped to about 1,800. More people were visiting Alaska, but infrastructure still hadn't caught up to it yet. Then, the 1990s, they saw about 3,500 disappearances in that decade alone. This was when the term Alaskan Triangle started to gain attention. Then the big 2000s rolled around and they saw a huge increase to about 5,200 disappearances. Tourism during this time was booming, but so was climate change. The 2010s reached another 5,800 disappearances. Social media started making missing person cases more visible, but it didn't stop the disappearances altogether. And now, here we are in the 2020s, and the disappearances have surpassed 2,500 already. And we're only about halfway through the decade. So the trend is clear. Disappearances keep continuing no matter what, and they keep rising as every decade passes. So there's clearly something happening here.
Well, yeah.
And then when you look at the real cases, it only deepens the concern and the mystery. So in 1944, Ensign John Deutsch, a Navy flight instructor, was piloting a TBM Avenger over Alaska during World War II. He was teaching George H.W. Bush, who would later become president, how to fly the plane. Tragically, though, the plane disappeared without a trace, leaving no distress call or wreckage behind. Eventually, Bush would end up landing the plane safely elsewhere. But Deutsch and two other crew members aboard were never found.
But where the hell did they go?
No idea. Then, in 1950, a military aircraft carrying 44 people vanished over the Brooks Range. This was the largest single disappearance in Alaska's history.
Damn.
There was no emergency signal, no debris, no wreckage. To this day, nothing of this aircraft or the 44 people have been found. Then in
I
19
guess they didn't like them.
no, apparently whoever it was that whatever is going on over there. In 1972, Hale Boggs, the House Majority Leader and Congress Nick Bagish from Alaska disappeared while flying from Anchorage to Juneau. Four people were on board when the plane vanished somewhere over the Chukok Mountains. Hale Boggs was one of the most powerful men in Congress. Nick Bagish, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry, guys, was beloved by his constituents. The plane had been cleared for landing at Juneau, but it never arrived. So it got close enough to its landing that they were cleared to do it, but the plane never landed. It just vanished. How wild is that?
It's all wild to me.
This was the largest search in US history at the time, and it found nothing. For years, both Congress seats remained vacant, and Begish's wife refused to declare her husband dead for a long time. To
Well, I
this
can't really blame her on that one.
No, of course not. To this day, the case remains unsolved.
Damn.
Then, 6 years later, in 1978, a small Cessna 180 was found sitting on a remote airstrip. The engine was warm, the coffee inside also still warm, but there were no passengers. This is known as the ghost plane, and it still remains unexplained. There's no distress call, no signs of a struggle, no feet print leading away from the plane. It was as if whoever was inside of it simply vanished into thin air. Some speculate foul play, others suggest that they were taken by something unexplained. This case also still remains open to this day. Then in 1988, a pilot named John Kuehl disappeared while flying from Fairbanks to Bethel. His plane was a Piper Cherokee, a common bush plane. He was an experienced pilot with over 2,000 flight hours. He never made it to Bethel. His plane was never found. There was no wreckage, no distress call, absolutely nothing. Huell's case is one of hundreds just like this. Experienced pilots, common planes, but no trace of them. Then, in 1994, Deborah Jackson, a 34-year-old single mother from Anchorage, vanished. Her car was found running in a remote area, her purse inside, her shoes neatly placed beside the vehicle. But Deborah was gone. No body, no signs of a struggle, no suspect. Her case still remains open today, and her family are still searching for answers. One
Been
relative,
a lot of that lately.
I know, one relative told reporters, quote, "I still drive past the spot where she was last seen. I still check the news every day. I still hope."
Well, yeah, 'cause there's no.
There's
I
nothing
don't
saying
want to
what
say
happened.
closure.
Right. Because there never really is, but for lack of a better word.
Right.
Then in 2003, hiker Thomas Hale vanished near Juneau. He was a seasoned hiker who knew this terrain. On day 4, searchers found his belongings in a clearing that had already been searched twice. His backpack, water bottle, and jacket were all arranged so neatly as if they had been put there on purpose. But there was no signs of a struggle, no clear reason for him to disappear, and his case remains unsolved. Aside
That's why I stay the hell home. I don't travel.
aside from his backpack, water bottle, and jacket, there was nothing ever found. Then jumping ahead to 2017, the UMAC boat disappeared. This was a traditional Alaskan boat carrying a family of 4 that never reached its destination.
Another Gilligan's.
Yep. No distress call, nothing. The boat just vanished with an entire family with it. Then 2 years later in 2019, 12 small planes went missing over Alaska, most of them never being found. Also in that year, you had 20-year-old McKenna McGinnis, who disappeared while hiking near the Valdez. She was an experienced outdoor enthusiast, but she did underestimate the terrain here. Her backpack was found along with her phone, but she herself was never located. Her family has been searching for answers ever since. This is one of those cases that got national attention because she was young, she was prepared, but she still vanished without a trace. Then, just last year, in February of 2025, a Cessna caravan carrying 10 people went missing over Norton Sound. The Coast Guard found wreckage at 34 miles southeast of Nome. At least 3 bodies were recovered, but the others were never found and still haven't been. That was the one that I mentioned when we first started. And early just this year, in 2025, we already have 2 more planes that have went missing. One of them have been found with debris, but no one inside was recovered. And the other is still missing. And there are dozens other cases just like these. One father in Fairbanks told reporters, quote, "I still keep my daughter's room exactly the way it was. Her clothes are still in the closet. Her books are still on the shelf. I can't bring myself to change anything. What if she comes home?" A mother in Anchorage has driven past the spot where her son was last seen every single week for 15 years. She told a reporter, quote, "I still check the news every day. I still look at missing person posters. I still hope. I don't know what else to do." The family of a missing hiker keeps a candle lit in their window every night. They've done it for over a decade. They say if he's out there somewhere, he'll see it. He'll know we're still waiting. Here's what happens when someone goes missing in Alaska. First, a report is filed, usually by a family member, friend, or someone who was supposed to meet with them. Then local authorities start an investigation. If the person is in a remote area, search and rescue is called in. They'll deploy teams, sometimes helicopters, sometimes on foot. They look for signs, feet print, campsites, debris. If the terrain is too rough or the weather is too bad, then they'll just have to wait. And every hour that passes, the odds get worse. If nothing is found after a few days, the case might go inactive. Not closed, just inactive. Waiting for new evidence, waiting for a break, for something that might never come. Search and rescue teams in Alaska face challenges that most people can't even imagine. They're working with limited budgets, fewer personnel, and equipment that is most oftentimes outdated.
That don't surprise me any with the budget cuts and everything that a lot of these departments have had and stuff
Right.
and wanting to defund the police.
Yep. And then if you look at how remote a lot of these areas and communities are,
Yeah, they're poor communities.
right, they're
They don't have
self-funded.
a full-time police
No,
department like we do, and
nope, most of them are self-funded.
yep.
Yep. Now, some areas are so remote that the only way to reach them is by helicopter or bush plane, and those are expensive and they depend on the weather.
Yeah, because if the weather's nasty, you ain't flying, baby.
Nope. One SAR volunteer told reporters, quote, "We'll search an area for hours, sometimes days, and then we'll find nothing. No trail, no sign, nothing. And we have to go home, knowing that person is still out there and we couldn't get to them in time." The emotional toll on these teams is real. They're saving lives, but they're also losing them. And they're watching families suffer year after year. Another SAR member told reporters, quote, "We never stop searching until we have to. We won't give up on a family, but we also know that time is the enemy. Every hour that passes, the odds get worse. And that's the hardest part, watching the clock, knowing what's at stake, and not being able to do anything about it." Search and rescue teams still face major challenges today. Like we said, they have limited resources, they have a vast terrain they have to search, and they have to do it in unpredictable conditions. They work with fewer personnel and they struggle to cover all the areas that they need to. Sadly, no matter what they do, they're still losing lives. It's disheartening to see that nothing has changed in the past 10 years, 20, or even 30. Alaska still leads the nation in disappearances. Climate change is making conditions even more unstable, thinning ice, harsher weather, and more risk. Permafrost is melting, making terrain even more unstable than it was before. Storms are becoming more unpredictable, and more people are going missing as a result. There's something deeply unsettling about that. Yeah, Alaska is dangerous. We all know it. And danger always leaves something behind. But here, sometimes there's nothing at all. The mystery remains unsolved. There's more theories, more disappearances, and still no clear answers every year that passes. We're no closer to understanding this than we were decades ago. And every day, someone else goes missing. Every week, a new case opens. Every year, families wait just a little longer. There are so many questions that we don't have the answers to. Why do some people disappear without a trace while others in the same area are found? Why do some planes lose all communication while others land safely? Why are some cases solved quickly while others remain open for decades? Why do belongings get left behind in such strange ways? And why does Alaska have such a high disappearance rate compared to the rest of the country? We don't have all the answers, and maybe we never will. But these aren't just numbers, these are real people, real families, real pain.
It's sad because, you know, these families may never get answers.
Right. This is one of those that hits differently because although there's a lot of numbers and a lot of unknown and known in it, they're not just statistics.
They're people.
Right. They're mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, people who had dreams, plans, and lives. And now they're just gone and nobody knows where they went. Okay. And that's why us and other podcasters like us keep telling these stories because sometimes the only thing that is left is the truth. And the truth in this one is they were here, they mattered, and they're still missing. So if you want to help, there are things that you can do. You share missing person stories on social media. Follow organizations like the National Crime Information Center and the Indigenous Wellness Research Institute. Check the websites for active missing person cases in Alaska. And if you're planning to visit Alaska, don't underestimate the wilderness. Bring proper gear, tell someone where you're going, check the weather, and respect the land. Because, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also unforgiving. But
Kinda
there's,
like the Appalachian Mountains.
right, yeah, pretty much. But there's one more thing. You have to be careful about sharing missing person stories on social media. Misinformation is out there and it spreads fast. So you have,
Oh, don't we know it.
right. So you have to check your source. Make sure that the person is actually missing and that they are still missing. So you yourself don't spread unconfirmed theories. You want to help, not hurt. And that is the Alaskan Triangle,
He wants to play.
a place where people vanish, families wait, and nobody has all the answers. But there are other cases out there that I didn't tell you about. Cases that have haunted all of us for decades, that challenge everything we think we know about crime and human nature. And I have one of those coming up next week. It's just not in Alaska.
I freak out if I don't see the boys for 10 minutes
Right.
and I'm out in public with them.
Now, before we get into our sneak peek for next week, if there's anything at all that you take from this episode, it's this. Remember that Alaska is beautiful, but it is also dangerous. And Alaska may be a mystery that we will never fully understand. If you or someone you know is connected to a missing persons case in Alaska, especially an Indigenous family, please share their story. Keep their name alive. Don't let them be forgotten. Sometimes keeping a name out there is all that is needed to bring a case back to life.
Yeah, jogs memories and
Right. And sometimes the guilt finally eats away enough at somebody that they finally come forward. And then I know I didn't mention it before anyone screams it. Okay. The Alaskan Triangle is often compared to the Bermuda Triangle, but this one is very different. This one is much more real and it's still happening. The Bermuda Triangle is on water. It's possible that the plane and ship disappearances there are normal, whereas what's going on in Alaska most definitely isn't. And that's why I didn't really talk a whole lot about the Bermuda Triangle. Plus, we did a whole episode on that one already anyway. So now, are you ready to learn what we're going to do next week?
What are we doing next week?
We're going to dive into a case that haunted the U.S. for nearly 2 decades. A shadowy figure who sent packages filled with bombs disappeared into the wilderness and left a manifesto that changed everything.
I know. I know.
He was a genius, a recluse, and one of the most enigmatic criminals in American history. You may know the name, you may know the story. There's a lot more to this case than you think. And that is why it's going to be a two-parter. And next week, we're going to start at the beginning. How a math prodigy became a ghost in the woods and how the first bombs changed everything. Because that's what Monstrous is all about. Telling the
That's what
stories that need to be told, the ones that make you think, the ones that make you feel, the ones that remind us that behind every case, there's a person, a family, and at least one life that mattered. And that's it. Guys, we got that bonus coming out this week too. That one's going to be a good one. So don't miss that one. And that's it. That's all I got. You got anything?
just a furball in my lap.
Okay, guys, we hope you enjoyed our little tidbit on the Alaskan Triangle. There's a lot more out there. Go do your research, check it out. Let us know what you think is happening over there. Um, Keep an eye out for that bonus this week. You'll be getting it within the next few days. And then we'll see you next week for our part one of a big one. One that once you see the title of it, you'll probably think I know this case. That's it. You can find our social media links in the episode description along with our email for case suggestions, listener stories, anything like that. Give us a rate and a review. Also, don't forget to follow and turn on download so you never miss an episode. And that's all we have for today. So, guys, remember to watch out for monsters,
And don't kill people.
and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.